Let me tell you a story about the most disastrous first date I almost went on. I was 32. I was still single, but going on lots of dates. I was using the Mutual app, which is a dating app specifically tailored towards single members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So I was swiping, I was matching with plenty of girls, going on lots of dates. Well, because I had ADHD, and partially due to a scheduling oversight on my part, I accidentally scheduled two girls on the same day at the same time at the same restaurant. Yikes. Now, before you panic, I did manage to save it by asking girl number 2 earlier that day, hey, are you okay if we eat at J-Dog's, which was the restaurant next door, and are you okay if we meet like an hour later than we'd planned? She said, yeah, sure, that's fine. So, I go to my first date that day, and I stand up to meet the girl. I see her walk in, and I recognize her picture from Mutual. And in her own words, she described me standing up as, quote, he stood up. And he kept standing up. Well, I'm 6'3". What can you do? Anyway, that first date with girl number 1 was so comfortable, so relaxed, and so at ease that 20 minutes into the first date, I asked her out on the second. My second first date that day with girl number 2 was good, but it wasn't nearly as comfortable. Why? Well, she made it a point to mention that she was a trained operatic singer, and she had her college degree, and she was asking me pointed and kind of probing questions about my degree and how far along I was in my career. But it didn't feel like she was getting to know me. It felt like she was checklisting me. She was trying to control the narrative to see if we'd be a good match or not. And in response, I actually started to do the exact same thing. I started to try and be funnier. I started to more offhandedly mention my own musical expertise, how I'm a trained singer too. It just didn't go as well. Why? Because we were trying to control the dating narrative. I'm here to simply tell you, if you're a single Latter-day Saint and you're in the active dating pool, stop trying to control the narrative. It doesn't work. Let me give you an example. In 2023, the makers of the Mutual app released their World Dating Report. Most relevant to us today, right now, are the filters that are utilized in the app, where users can voluntarily include or exclude different subgroups. Things like the relationship readiness slider that lets you indicate whether you're just looking for a casual date or you're committed to something more serious. Or maybe your current level of church attendance. Can you guess what the top most used filter was in 2023? It was height. This is a prime example of trying to control the narrative. If you're a girl who cuts out guys for being too short, or you're a guy who cuts out girls for being too tall, then you'd be missing out on all the potential Zac Efrons and Taylor Swifts of the world. Now, are some of those filters appropriate to us as Latter-day Saints? Yes, absolutely. The dating world of the 21st century is no different from last century. It's always been appropriate to filter out any obvious deal-breaking incompatibilities. In a research paper called Religious-Focused Dating Apps, a Q Methodology Study, one participant explained how he sees it. Quote, the most important aspect in dating and marriage is my connection with the gospel and my significant other. So, because Mutual is gospel-centered, it covers the most important aspect in my search. Close quote. But you can't have a filter for everything. The danger is, the stricter you filter, the more you risk treating someone like a checklist instead of a relationship. To build a relationship, you need to make connections. A checklist is the opposite of a connection. A checklist is mechanical and calculating. A connection is warm, genuine, and human. So, how do you make a connection? The answer is actually quite simple. Be yourself. Be real. Lower your walls and try to get to know the other person first. Try to understand them. Try to find similarities, even while appreciating the differences. Okay, you say, that's good, Jonathan, but what about a more authoritative voice? Sure. How about an article from The New Era, a church-sponsored magazine aimed at teens and young adults? Here are 2 ways you can be yourself. Don't assume that the date means something hugely significant or implies a great commitment. Do relax. Your only commitment is to spend time with someone for an activity in which you'll get to know one another. Don't always think, could this be the one? Do just have fun. Remember, there's no serious relationship at the beginning. You're learning the ropes, not tying the knot. But now, let's keep talking about what it means to control the narrative, or how not to do that. I'll give you another example. My wife and I did 3 things backwards when we were dating. We scheduled our time in the temple, and then I proposed to her, and then, several weeks later, we had our first kiss. Why did we do that? It's kind of weird. Simple. I wasn't trying to control the dating narrative. Carrie, my wife, the girl number 1 from the story, she had never had a boyfriend before. She'd never had a first kiss before. So the idea of a first kiss was kind of scary to her. So I didn't push it. I just let it flow. I let things happen naturally. I think that one of the biggest headaches that we have in dating culture, especially as Latter-day Saints, is there's so much stress and emphasis on, you have to find your one and only. You have to find your eternal companion. It's the most important thing you'll ever do. That's true. Don't discount that. But a companion is not a checklist. In a widely quoted address to college students, President Spencer W. Kimball spoke against the idea that there is only one perfect, divinely predestined person for each of us. Soulmates are fiction and an illusion, he said. Almost any good man and any good woman can have happiness and a successful marriage if both are willing to pay the price. Talk about breaking down the concept of a checklist. Any good man and any good woman. So in conclusion, don't try to control the narrative. Don't try to make someone something they're not. And don't try to be anyone other than you. Because in the end, the person who will be the most attractive to your future spouse is you, as you are. Now, that's not an excuse to let yourself go or stop trying or stop caring. If there's things in your life that you know you need to work on, then don't waste time. Do it. But I'll say one last time so that you really hear me. The most attractive person to your future partner is you. So ditch the checklist. Make a connection. Be who you are. You'll find more joy and fun in dating. You'll be happier along the way. And you just might find that your future partner is closer than you thought. Thank you.